Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Game Vault podcast stream. I'm your host, Mark. We're back with the news hour for the middle of May here, May 18th, when you're listening to this on podcast services and YouTube. We're getting closer and closer to Summer Game Fest. I'm getting excited. We'll get some press conferences, might get some announcements. I'm thinking there might be, just from some things I've been reading, I didn't pull the story because it's boring stuff and I don't know enough about it to talk to you about it. But just looking at some of the stuff Square Enix put out, we may be getting a Final Fantasy VII Part 3 soonish in terms of announcement. I would imagine from what I read yesterday, they would need to announce it soon because they probably want it for Q4, not Q1 next year. So, we might get that soon. So I'm excited for June. Hope everybody has had a good week. It's starting to ramp up here. We were just talking off stream with Night Duck, and as you can see in the chat there, we'll probably either Tuesday or Wednesday, probably Tuesday, do a hasty glance for Bubsy 4D with the demo. I'll download that right after this. You'll also see a bunch of videos popping up on YouTube in the next week or two. I'll have my whole Mega Man run, since we played through every Mega Man game that's ever been created. The 6 of them. There's only the 6 Mega Men that have ever been released. I'll get all those out. There's one episode missing, episode 1 of Mega Man 4, which I might just go back and kill those first 2 Robot Masters. And then put an extra video up later, just to have that be complete. And then mixtape will be up tomorrow. And then Trails, we'll be catching up on Trails. We're a couple episodes behind on that. And then we should be completely caught up by the end of June. Not the end of June, like the second week of June. But if we keep putting all these new things in, we should be able to just fill the feed there and give you guys some new things to watch that isn't just what Tom streams on Thursdays in the news hour. And then we'll have 007, and so a lot of stuff coming up over the break here, over the summer here. I am excited. It looks like I'm going to try and figure out how to do shorts in terms of some of the clips from Tomodachi Life and some of the other ones that I have. Maybe we can get some shorts going up, but I'm going to start working on some stuff. I think what I'm going to do is, I'm a man that likes a plan and a schedule. As you know, I'm very much we need to do things on these days when we announce it. So I think I'm going to be taking my Sundays, unless if I have something to do. I'll be doing my, laundry and, other errands around the house. And I'll be, uploading videos and maybe cutting shorts and just trying to get that stuff. Just using one day a week to try and do as much as I can for the YouTube channel. So hopefully that will work. So if you watch any of our stuff live, I hope, and I'll announce this on Monday, clip as much stuff as you can when you're watching, because I'm going to try and turn them into shorts, just to promote the channel a bit. It'll save me editing time to go back and find stuff, but it's not necessary, but it would be helpful. So I want to announce that here. I was figuring that out today while I was doing all the other editing throughout the day, that would be a fun thing to do. The Tomodachi Life, made it, I was like, okay, this will work. So we'll try to do it for other things in the future. And also, one other thing from the editing today is I've realized how much I miss playing Mega Man. I was watching some of the upload. I'm like, oh, Mega Man's a good game. I miss playing Mega Man. But I think I'll be getting one at some point. I know I make the bit about the 6 were the only ones. But we will probably be playing Mega Man X at some point. Maybe X2. I don't know if X2 is on the list or not for the Monday stream. But I am excited to get back to UN Squadron, so we'll start there with what I've been playing. So UN Squadron, I had a ton of fun with that game through the first thing. Yeah, so we will we'll be playing a lot more of that. I had a lot of fun. I think I know what character to choose. I think I need to go for the slower defense guy. I think that helps with my play style. I also, as you know, with the Retro Roulette endurance runs, we use save states at times to sort of, help because, I'm not the most skilled gamer, so we won't get through some of these games, or they would be boring, shows, and I'd rather show off the game to you guys, and I still physically have to beat the games. I still have to make the jumps, as you can tell from our one and only short from Adventure Island 8-3, which is one of the hardest jumps in video games. That took me 20 minutes, and then I clipped when I finally made it. So I still have to actually beat the games. We're just like, I do the save state so we don't have to restart everything, which happens with UN Squadron. You restart everything. The downside is you can't really save state in that game because the whole point of the game is you sort of die, you get money, you go and you upgrade or you buy a new plane or something like that. And, you just go from there in terms of getting better at the game. So I found it's a Pro Action Replay because for some reason Game Genie did not work on BizHawk. Or I'm sorry, my completely legit Super Nintendo. So it gives me infinite continues. So I still have to beat it, and I'm not doing invincibility or anything. I still have to beat it, but I get as many chances as I want to do it. So we'll see if that fixes the problem of when it's game over, and you start from the very, very beginning, kind of like Star Fox. So we will be playing through with that, but yeah. The one thing, like, I started to get really good at like avoiding the planes and the bullets and the attacking, but then some of the environmental stuff started getting me at the end. There's a great thing you'll see on the video when it comes up. When I start running into a mountain and I'm going, why am I going forward? And I just didn't notice that I was just hitting a rock and dying. So I like the way it's laid out in terms of the side-scrolling shooter. It's not too much bullet hell, but it's close. And the it's more so learning that you can use your super weapons on things other than the boss. So that's one of the things I got to start realizing. So yeah, playing through that. That game's fun. That's the first. We're playing on Mondays, if you don't know. My Monday stream, which was Mega Man. It's my Retro Roulette endurance run, which means I pick a game and we beat it. And it's different from Retro Roulette in that that's all games Tom owns. So there's a specific list for that game. Me, it can be any game. So I decided to tackle Nintendo Life's top 50 SNES games of all time. And our limit is nothing more than 8 to 10 hours. Like, that's the limit. If how long the beat says it's more than that, throw it out. So it's like RPGs, tactical games like Battle Ogre, not going to be on there. I think Terranigma is like 20-something hours. Games like that will be, I don't want, I want, this segment's going to go on for a while. I don't need it to go on for years. So, I want it to be like maybe a year. Maybe by the time we get back around to this time next year, we're doing the next segment. But yeah, I had no sports games that are simulations. So no NHL 94 or NBA Live or Madden. None of those games. I don't think any of them will be in the top 50, but none of those games. But a game like NBA Jam or a game, if we got the NES version, because we did a poll between NES or SNES for me to play. Like Blades of Steel, a game that has a tournament, a tennis game, golf. I'll play a round of golf. Boxing, we'll play through it, especially like Super Punch Out or something like that. If that's on the list, we'll play through that stuff. Or for Super Punch Out, we'll get as far as we can before I start getting frustrated. And because there is a cap on my skill level. Um, I never beat the original Punch Out. So we'll play. Maybe we'll do 4 or 5 episodes of that of me trying to beat it, and then we'll move on. But that's it. That's in the top 50. But yeah, so essentially anything more than 8 to 10 hours, gone. There's a lot of games on that list that are like under 3 hours, so 1 or 2 episodes. So that's why I'm hoping like 6 to 8 months, maybe a year, and then we'll be on to the next one. So I'm excited for Mondays because everything's going to be changing. Every time we beat a game, it's something brand new. At least I know what I'm going to be playing going forward. And I think we end the segment, with, I think it's Super Metroid, A Link to the Past, and Super Mario World, I think are the top 3 from the quick glance that I looked at it. So we'll be finishing off with probably 3 of my top 10 favorite games of all time. And there may be top 15. We can probably say top 15 because there's a lot of games. Super Metroid's the one that is probably could fall outside the top 10. But, yeah, so UN Squadron. Hopefully we beat that in a couple more streams, but it's a very fun game. Very underrated Capcom game. I don't know if many people know it. If you love side-scrolling shooters from the 16-bit era, you should definitely pick it up. Yeah. And then we started on Friday, our playthrough of Mixtape. That's going to be 2 streams. We're going to finish it next Friday before we start 007 on the 29th. So through Mixtape, I think one thing, I knew a lot of the songs, but I didn't know the name of the song. Like there was a good bit of songs where I was like, oh, I know that song. Oh, that's the name of it. Throughout points. Yeah, because growing up with a sister that liked that kind of music at that time frame, a lot of 70s, 80s, stuff going on, and there's probably going to be some 90s stuff in there. I don't know what year it is. I think it's like mid 90s because the one character, Cassandra, has like the flannel shirt tied around the waist, and we're getting to that, Tom. So I am 100%. I love Cassandra, who's one of the side characters. I think I get her whole thing. She seems very relatable. I sort of understand part of her story with she's like a softball star, but she ends up not liking it. Like I knew a couple of my niece's friends that were really good at softball, but were like, I'm not going to do this in college. It's not what I want. I don't know what I want. I'm really good at this thing, but I don't really have the passion for it. So I understood that completely, like immediately, and she just seems like your normal rebelling person. Slater, who's the other side character, he's a man of many, like he wants to say that he's like one thing, like he's like, oh, I'm just all metal. It's all metal, got to be metal. And then you hear him in some of the conversation. I'm like, dude, you get it. You're a well-adjusted person. Like, you see most things from multiple sides, and which is in contrast to Stacy, our main character, Stacy Rockford, who is very much a teenager in that she is very judgmental about everything. She hates this one character who seems okay. She seems great from what we've seen. We haven't seen anything negative from Jenny Goodspeed, who she mainly goes, just names her by saying Jenny fucking Goodspeed. And the one interaction we have makes our main character look awful. Is essentially, or awful for like having this grudge against her. Like, you can dislike a person for what I'm about to say, but this seems like a grudge, and this seems very not grudge-worthy. But then again, she's a teenager, so maybe that's it. But they were talking about, they saw her at the movies or the Cineplex, because they're in a small town. And she's like, I went and saw some Jenny says, I went and saw some alien movie. It was like boring. Close Encounters, the third or something. I don't know. Close Encounters 3, something like that. And Rockford goes, oh man, it's got a great soundtrack. How was it? Or did you like it? And Jenny goes, I don't really listen to the music. I just kind of watched the movie. And Rockford goes immediately, it like cuts to her inner thoughts. I know everything I need to know about you. And then from then on, as far as we know, that was the moment that she started hating Jenny Goodspeed. And it's just like I get why you might not like somebody because they don't like, they dismiss your passion. But I can't, you can't have a grudge where you're like, I'm sure we'll find out something later. Like, it's got to be a lot more gray area than making our main character look like an asshole, essentially. But maybe it could be that. She also seems like a very much of an asshole overall, in the sense that, or very selfish. But then again, teenager. Where they had a whole road trip planned between, Slater, Cassandra, and Rockford. They were going to travel down California from where they're at the very tip of Northern California down to probably like UCLA or USC or something in Southern California doesn't make her relatable. And she decides that her lifelong dream is to be a music supervisor, which she thinks is this grandiose job, which from what I've known from most music supervisors, it is just a lot of paperwork of getting licensing. Like, they pick the songs and they choose what songs have on it, but not every song they want to put on a playlist or a soundtrack can get through because of licensing agreements. That part she doesn't seem to know, which is obvious. Teenager in the 90s. Wouldn't know that. But very much she thinks she's the shit when it comes to music, and it doesn't really... Like, she's the least relatable of the three... At least to me, of the three main characters we've met so far. Everyone else around her is like cool as shit. Her sister might be the coolest person in the world, from what we've seen, we've heard from her, and what she does for Stacy. And like I said, Cassandra is probably the best character so far of who we've interacted with. She's the most like 3D, well-rounded, person that we've seen, and actually has a reason to be the way she is. Dad's a cop. So she's rebelling against him being a little bit authoritarian in the house. It is a little worried if they're doing like Asian helicopter parents and it's like written by a white guy. That could kind of be problematic. We'll see where it goes. I hope they don't delve into that part so much. But yeah, overall, I think we have to be about halfway through. I think it's like 4 to 5 hours. We're about 2 hours in. Maybe a little less than that, game-wise, because we spent 30 minutes skipping rocks, because this game is a rock-skipping simulator. And the best part was, I was just trying to throw the rocks, and I'm like, how do you get to those far ones? It seems impossible. Like, I can't throw it high enough for it to go. And then Tom just pops in. It's either Night Duck or Metal Militia, I forget who, pops into the chat and goes, you have to skip the rocks, Mark. It's rock skipping. And I'm like, oh... City boy. Never really had to skip rocks on a pond before. It's like, I get it. And then I started skipping and we beat it. I'm waiting until I'm done to look up the spoilers on that to see if we got everything. I think we got everything. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm the opposite, Tom. There wasn't much rock skipping in the Delaware River. So... Yeah, but overall, the music's good. We got muted only for 2 sections before. Did I delete the VOD? I might have deleted. I don't know. We only got muted in 2 sections. We haven't gotten DCMA'd, which is pretty good. On YouTube's the best. We don't monetize YouTube, and I knew it was going to be a problem. YouTube, it just goes possible problem, and I click on it. It's like every song was claimed that had come up on the thing. We did get blocked in one country. Yeah. We got blocked in Russia. So nobody in Russia can watch that video. Yeah. Yeah. So, thank you, Tom. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm excited to see it on Friday to see how it ends, to see if there's any redemption for Stacy, or she gets her comeuppance. Either way, I'll be happy. If they just kind of stick to this road, I'm going to be unhappy with. But she's either got to realize that she's a selfish person, or something's got to happen, and then she realizes it. Like, it's got to be like either something like she misses out on the thing or something. You know, they can't. It's mostly about that like last day. We've all had this at the end of high school where it's never the same again. Once you leave for college and once you leave high school, because everyone knows you get your 3 or 4 people. Well, they seem to only have 3 or 4 people in here that you probably. Yeah, I think they are going to take the trip without her. I hope they bring Jenny fucking Goodspeed with them. You know, that part they're getting like they had which is what made me kind of like Slater. Is he has a moment where it's like and I don't mind spoiling this game if you know, the game's just about the music. I don't think there's much, to spoil about. I apologize if you were worried about spoilers, but I think it's an experience with the music and all that you should play it if you have any interest in it. You may have a different feel on the characters than I do. But Slater has a moment where they leave Stacy's house to go to Cassandra's house, and he walks back in and he's like, "Goodbye, Stacy's room." And I'm like, "Oh, that's true." Like, once you graduate high school, for the most part, you don't have those moments a lot anymore. Where you used to every day after high school hang out in someone's room. Because you didn't have a job to go to, you didn't have a family to take care of, you didn't have, you just sort of hung out in someone's room. And I felt that was very touching, that moment. I was like, okay, I like Slater. Stacy hasn't had those moments yet. So maybe she has one near the end. I don't know. But the one thing I will say so far, I feel like the 9s and 10s from the critics are people that this really hit home for. Like people that grew up in towns like Stacy, maybe were like her, maybe something happens at the end to make it better. I think it's like an 8, 8.5, as a game so far. Its visuals are good. I know Tom hates the frame rate thing. The music matches up well. The characters have personalities, whether you hate them or not. It's sort of, touching on an era of things, because it's right before the CD boom. So that's why I'm thinking early 90s, early to mid 90s. Maybe like 92, 93, something like that. But yeah, I recommend it if you are very attached to music. I'm not as attached to music as Stacy is in this game, which might be why I don't like her, or I'm not feeling it. But yeah, I'm having fun. We're going to finish it on Friday. So we'll see where it ends. And that also leads us into our other Friday stream. We'll be doing Tomodachi Life every Friday. At 8 p.m., barring if I have something to do. Because, again, Friday and Saturday streams, while I like them, will be based on if I am going out somewhere or, have some other engagement to do. But anyway, if I don't, 8 p.m. on Friday, we play through Tomodachi Life, and then we play through whatever game I'm streaming. It's Mixed Life, or Mixtape, and then it'll be 007. Like, whatever 2026 game I'm playing, that'll come after Tomodachi Life. We play for an hour. This week, right off the bat, we got our goal. Our goal was to make Gerard Butler, move in and be roommates with Dan. For those of you who don't know, because this is as everyone's first podcast, or somebody's first podcast, as people like to say, we're playing Tomodachi Life, Living the Dream, on Switch, and I've created an island called TC Tam Island, which is they called this a movie, which is the other podcast I'm on with Anthony and Dan. So it's an island of me, Anthony, and Dan. And we are surrounded by 67 of our characters from all the movies that we've watched for that podcast, which we're closing in on 400 movies. So far we have like Eric Roberts' character, Dr. Beck from Stalked by My Doctor. We have Jane Fonda's character, Barbarella, because we need women on the island, and there's not many standout women in some of the movies, or they're all just generic things. So I might need to just start putting actresses in there, which is why I have Anna Nicole Smith and Cynthia Rothrock in there. You know, just characters like that throughout. If you've been listening to TC Tam, you'll notice a bunch of people coming in. Off stream, I'm going to try at some point to put the People's Joker in there, because that is very much a female character that stands out. I just have to learn to draw the makeup and all that stuff. So yeah, we have you know, that, and I got to start building out the island to make everyone fit. But we have people falling in love with each other. We have possible love triangles coming up. Yeah, we need Kyla. Kyla's coming. That's the Stalked by My Doctor. That's the My Teacher, My Obsession girl. That we're all Team Kyla. She'll be in there for sure. And then, you know, there's anybody else. But so far, Dan and Gerard Butler are roommates. Gerard Butler is wearing a koala suit and he walks around with maracas. I don't know. That was a group decision. You know, I was leaning towards the maracas, and then Goat said, yeah, the maracas are the only choice. So he has maracas now. And Dan is now in like an alligator dinosaur costume, which I just called Godzilla. So he's in Godzilla garb. And then, you know, it's becoming fun. We're getting to about level 20 on the island, and things will start opening up. So should be fun. You should join us every Friday. I'm going to play off stream as well. You know, so we just making me's, not so much doing stuff a lot. Just so when we pop in, we have things to talk about. So that's Tomodachi Life. And then playing through Trails. Trails in the Sky second chapter. We finished another. It's only 4 dungeons total. I thought there were 5, but we finished the third of 4th. Or third of 4 yesterday, and this one was a little more straightforward, but had a lot of mini boss battles. Our characters, I feel, now that I understand Earthwall and all that, I feel like we're like at a good level. We're all in the 70s, because you can import. So you start at like level 40 at the end. So, you know, we got everybody up to about level 70. Like, we're gonna start off. We have 2 characters not level 70. We're probably going to end up with 1 not at level 70. But they're at like 65, so it's not that far off. By the time we get to the final dungeon. Hopefully, I don't know if they'll split us up or whatever. The thing I'll have to do is figure out who has Earthwall. And if it's like a split party, each party has to have someone with Earthwall in it. So. Yeah, we fought another enforcer. I got to try a new accent out. It probably was bad, but that's the point. And then, yeah, we're now, I think we're now the little girl enforcer is the next one we're doing. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. Yeah, so that's every Saturday. All the updates should be coming up soon on YouTube, so we should be almost caught up by the time either Saturday comes or the next Saturday. So, and then we have Memorial Day. Yeah. So we should be getting done with that soon, and then we'll be playing Neo Fantasian after that. Haven't played much else. Just, you know, playing sports games. You know, just to waste time. Yeah, I don't think I've downloaded and played anything else recently. I'm getting the itch watching all the videos to get Forza. We'll have Tom's report on that on Thursday about it. But, yeah, it's that time of year. It's going to be a lot of games out, a lot of things happening on the channel. So we'll be playing through a bunch of things. And, you know, it's, you know, that time of year. All right, let's move on to the news. And after a fan poll, Microsoft's new games boss is rebranding Xbox to Xbox in all capital letters. Earlier this week, Asha Sharma polled fans on her X account about whether Microsoft's gaming arm should be known as Xbox or the all-caps version Xbox. After receiving 19,000 votes, the latter capitalized version won out with 64%, and Sharma shared an image of the official Xbox account, renamed Xbox. This small yet notable change comes weeks after Sharma rebranded Microsoft's gaming division, previously known as Microsoft Games, back to simply Xbox. The exec also changed the Xbox logo to the classic green color in one of the many moves aimed at winning over fans. Commenting on the decision to rebrand in April, Sharma said the decision was made in an attempt to unify gaming teams. So I want to start off with this story because that is the most, PR shit of all time. I don't know. It was just funny. I just love the fact that now this whole big rebranding thing is just them capitalizing the name of the company. And as we always mention here, Microsoft is still part of the BDS boycott movement. So if you are still following that, they are still on the list. I will keep you updated if they ever do come off. This is fun that she's using X, Twitter, polls to decide company policy. That should work out perfectly well for Asha. All right, next up. Sega has canceled development of its Super game as it pivots away from live service games. Sega has announced the cancellation of its ambitious Super game 5 years after it first mentioned development of the project. In its latest financial results, Sega quietly confirmed the cancellation of Super Game in a slide detailing a review of its live service efforts. Due to the weak performance of Sonic Rumble Party and its disappointing 2023 acquisition of Angry Birds creator Rovio, which has seen its sales decline significantly, Sega has lowered its priority of free-to-play games in the immediate future. Over 100 developers were working on free-to-play titles have already been transferred to full game development teams, focusing on mainstay IP, according to the company. Planned revivals of classic franchises such as Crazy Taxi, Jet Set Radio, Golden Axe, and Streets of Rage remain in production, Sega said. Announced in May of 2021, Sega claims its Super Game project would span multiple AAA titles that cross over Sega's comprehensive range of technologies and go beyond the traditional framework of games. In November 2021, Sega said it would consider investing up to 100 billion yen, which was then $882 million, over 5 years to achieve its Super Game ambitions. The company's chief operating officer, Shuji Yasumi, provided an update on Super Game in late 2023. As the name implies, a Super Game involves the concept of a game that stands head and shoulders above normal games. I encourage stakeholders to look forward to the fruits of our efforts, which include R&D to create a game that builds a whole worldview involving an entire gaming ecosystem, including not only players, but also streamers who stream the game and their viewers. Sega's pivot away from live service games comes amid a volatile market for blockbuster games as a service titles, which has seen notable high-profile flops in recent months as the majority of players remain entrenched in the biggest forever games like Fortnite and Roblox and development costs balloon. So bye-bye Super Game. This was a weird Sega thing that I thought they would be able to pull off because Sega pulls off weird things. Always curious what they were trying to do here. But if this is another shot at games in a service or games as a service, I'm all for it. Because as you know here, I am trying to slowly coax my youngest niece away from Roblox because Roblox is awful and evil. So, hopefully, maybe they're going to start getting a dent into them as well. All right, next up. Speaking of mixtape, the developer claims the game won't be delisted due to its licensed music. And I pull up a SureJan GIF. The developers behind Annapurna's indie hit mixtape have dismissed claims that the game could be delisted from stores in the future due to its focus on licensed music. Set in the 1990s and developed by the same team behind BAFTA-winning The Artful Escape, Mixtape tells the story of three high school friends making their way to their final party, reminiscing about their teenage years. Mixtape prominently features music from artists such as the Smashing Pumpkins and Devo in its design, to the point that the game doesn't include a streamer mode, allowing creators to safely stream the game. Because many similar games are often delisted when their music license expires, some fans had expected that Mixtape's shelf life could be short. However, speaking to Kotaku, Mixtape director Johnny Galvatron moved to alleviate such concerns. According to the developer, Mixtape won't suffer the same issues as other games that feature licensed music, as Beethoven and Dinosaur negotiated their licenses in perpetuity. Galvatron's claim was later echoed by Annapurna itself, which wrote on X, "We've heard some people say Mixtape will be delisted due to music licensing expiring. That was a lie." Mixtape's director further discussed the process of securing music for the game in the Kotaku interview, revealing that they used Pink Floyd as a boundary test for what could be possible for the game, but stopped when they were told they were unlikely to get approval from the band. Other than that, producer Woody Woodward, these people feel like fake people, said that developer got pretty much everything they've asked for. Galvatron said there's just so many points in the game where Stacy turns to the screen and says, "This is the Smashing Pumpkins," and it's fucking sick. You send that to the Smashing Pumpkins frontman Billy Corrigan, and he goes, "This is Smashing," and he goes, "This is the Smashing Pumpkins, and it's fucking sick." Yeah, they can do that. That is fine. Yeah, so I will believe it when I see it that they were able to not lose the game because of delisting. Yeah. So, yeah. It should be fun. Famous 90s band Pink Floyd. Yeah, so it's like 70s, 80s, 90s. Johnny Galvatron, really. Yeah, he's the director of the game. So, yeah. That's why I'm very much a SureJan in regards to this. If they're able to do it and they got to sign the contracts, people should figure out how they did it. So yeah, I think the music is spreading like they've done everything from Devo to Rainbows, Jesus Mary Chain, I believe is one too. I forget, like a whole bunch of people. They went to the 60s for one song. It's just what fits the story. I haven't gotten to the Pumpkins and 90s stuff yet. That's probably coming up near the end or at the party itself at the end. But yeah. If they pull it off, God bless them. But I'll believe it when I see it that they were able to get licensing in perpetuity. All right. Speaking of fun news that I didn't even think about, Subnautica 2 sells 2 million copies in 12 hours with over 600k concurrent players. Subnautica 2 has sold over 2 million copies on its first day of early access with over 600k concurrent players in its opening hours. The sequel to the massively popular survival game entered early access on Thursday, just over 1 hour after the game's release. The Subnautica Twitter account posted an announcement that the game had sold over 1 million copies. Just hours later, Unknown Worlds announced that the game had sold over 2 million copies in just 12 hours as the game topped the charts around the world. According to the Steam database, the game managed a peak Steam concurrent player count of 467,582 players. This makes Subnautica 2 the game with the 29th highest concurrent player count in Steam history. This number doesn't include players who are playing Subnautica 2 via Xbox Game Preview or via the Epic Game Store. According to a press release from Unknown Worlds, the peak concurrent player count across all platforms has topped 651,000. Before the game's release, Subnautica 2's development cycle was mired in a legal saga that saw leadership team of developer Unknown Worlds fired. Earlier this year, publisher Crafton was accused of ignoring a court order by announcing to the staff that the game was releasing in May, despite a decision seemingly being the responsibility of the newly reinstated CEO Ted Gill. So with this is surprising and interesting, despite the whole development and whether or not the firing and all that was good or whatever. 2 million copies in 12 hours is kind of amazing. So we'll see where the game goes when it gets to 1.0, where that number goes from there. Just to go back to the mixtape, as I just see Night Duck's comment, I'll read it for the audio listeners. He says, I mean, your contract can say whatever, but it's more expensive for a license in perpetuity, and publishers like having an excuse to force people to buy the new game. Yeah, so publishers may look at what Annapurna and Beethoven and Dinosaur did and go, you know what, it's not worth it. Not worth the money. And we're not going to do license in perpetuity. We're going to make you buy the new thing. But, maybe there's a way for that to, stop games from getting delisted. Like, I think Forza 3 and 4 you can't purchase anymore because of car licensing, which is weird because I would imagine that they have the same licenses for 5 and 6. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know how contracts work, but, I don't like that end of video games. Buy physical. Any games that might have licensed stuff that could get it delisted, as in Forza, buy physical. If we can still buy physical. Alright, next up. With its latest update, Nintendo has already added most of Virtual Boy's game library to the Switch Online. Nintendo has added 5 new Virtual Boy games to its Nintendo Switch Online Plus Expansion Pack subscription service, which is, well, probably say it in here. From today, users with the physical Virtual Boy accessory will be able to play V-Tetris, Jack Bros, Space Invaders Virtual Collection, Virtual Bowling, and Virtual Force. In Japan, a 6th game, Virtual Fishing, is also available today. Today's new releases means, in the West, 12 games are now available on the Virtual Boy NSO service, adding to the launch games that debuted in February. Nintendo previously confirmed the total of 16 Virtual Boy games planned for release on NSO, including Mario Clash and Mario Tennis. Users are also still waiting for the promised previously unreleased games Zero Racer and D-Hopper. Given that only 22 games were released for the Virtual Boy over its course of its life, a brief life in the 1990s, players will have the majority of the Virtual Boy library once remaining 9 games are released. Virtual Boy games that haven't been confirmed as coming to the service are Nestor's Funky Bowling, Panic Bomber, SD Gundam Dimension War, Space Squash, Virtual Fighting, Virtual Lab, Virtual League Baseball, and Waterworld. However, before some of these games featured licensed IPs, again, they are unlikely to appear in the future. Yeah, so. Yep, and as the chat keeps going about the licensing, I was going to pull that story, but I didn't know how popular Lego 2K Drive is, but that is being delisted only 3 years later because of licensing. So, yeah, go and pick that up. But I didn't want this to be like the licensing podcast, so I held off on that. But yeah, Virtual Boy also hit with licensing for not some games not being released over here. Next up. 2 unannounced Xbox controllers surface, including Elite Series 3 and CloudPad. Images of what reportedly show 2 new Xbox controllers have appeared online, including an Elite Series 3 and what claims to be an Xbox Cloud gaming controller. Images posted by Tech Blog claim to show 2 new peripherals for Microsoft, one which would be a continuation of its popular premium controller line, and another which would mark a new line of controllers from the publisher. The so-called Xbox Cloud controller features a flat rectangular pad with 2 small grips on either side. The controller seemingly features all the buttons of a standard Xbox controller, but in a much smaller form factor. For example, the triggers and the shoulder buttons are much more Joy-Con-like. At the top of the controller features a new button next to a cloud logo, which appears to hint at what the controller would be used for. This follows a report earlier in the year that Xbox was developing a controller that would be able to connect the games via Wi-Fi connection. The use case being users who stream games to non-traditional Xbox platforms. Yeah, so that's the new Xbox cloud controller, Tom. Aesthetics be damned. We need to get it out to the people that don't play on Xbox. Bad. That's what. Yeah. So I immediately pulled this story just for that photo, Tom, and I was hoping that you were around to see it. Because yeah, that looks terrible. I'm kind of in an Xbox controller sense. I'm not much of a fighting game guy, so I don't really. This isn't really bothering me too much, but I grabbed after watching the Mortal Kombat movie, I grabbed Mortal Kombat X and Mortal Kombat 11 because they were $5 on the Xbox store, and I was playing through Mortal Kombat X, and I'm not great at video games, but I did like practice and tutorial and stuff. But yeah, trying to do D-pad on that to do things, not fun. And this looks even worse. So I don't know who this is for. Here, this, yeah. Like even this top controller, let me scroll up a little bit for you guys. Like this, the D-pad looks funky and weird. I don't like that. But that's fine. It's an Elite controller. It has the little buttons you can see down here by the handles. And probably has buttons on the back. That's fine. Like I said, that D-pad looks a little weird. But this is like, you could put like the regular Xbox controller. 8-bit does what Xbox don't. Yeah, I have an 8-bit Do Xbox controller that I use for my Mister out there. And then, well, I'm not going to pull it out here. My Super Nintendo controller is an 8-bit Do as well that I use on here. But yeah, it's like you put the regular Xbox controller, the Elite controllers, and then this controller, and it'd be like that dragon photo with the two, with like the two good heads, and then the third one with sort of the tongue sticking out and the eyes going crazy. Yeah, that's what this controller looks like. It would be that dragon head there. So, yeah. All right, next up, in movie news, after being delayed, the Legend of Zelda movie has now been brought forward. The movie's release date for The Legend of Zelda has been moved again. The live-action film was supposedly to be released in March 2027, but last year Nintendo said to have decided to move it back to May 7th, 2027 for production reasons. Now, in a post on the official Nintendo Japan account on Twitter, Nintendo's Shigeru Miyamoto has announced that the date has changed again, but this time it's been moved forwards. It's forward, not forwards. Sorry. This is Miyamoto. The post reads... I love that he has to sign it. That's great. I would like to let you know that the worldwide theatrical release for the live-action film of The Legend of Zelda has been moved up to April 30th, 2027 from May 7th. The team is working hard to deliver the film to everyone as soon as possible. There's less than a year to go until release, so thank you for waiting. The live-action Legend of Zelda movie started production in New Zealand in November 2025 after several months after the game's cast was announced by Nintendo and Arad Productions. The movie will star Benjamin Evans Ainsworth as Link and Bo, I think that's Bragason, or Bragason, as Zelda, who were first shown in the first official photos for the film last year. The film's director Wes Ball, who's best known for directing the Maze Runner trilogy movies and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So yeah. We should be getting, Elite controllers are great. Like I said, I don't like the D-pad on the 3 there, but I heard the Elite 2 is great. Just going to Tom mentioned that in chat for the audio listeners. But yeah, I'm excited for the Legend of Zelda movie because I've come to a new critical idea of these movies after seeing Mortal Kombat 2. Like, I can very much separate the two things. Like, there's a world where this movie is like a 7 out of 10 as a movie, but like 10 out of 10 as a Legend of Zelda movie. Just like Mortal Kombat 2. 6 out of 10 as a movie overall. If you're just taking, like, never played Mortal Kombat, movie is a 6 out of 10. 10 out of 10 if you know anything about Mortal Kombat. It is like, it hits where it needs to hit, and it's still a good enough movie to do that. Yeah, so hopefully this falls into that category, or maybe it's great on both ends. But all it needs from me is to just be a 9, 10 out of 10 in the Legend of Zelda movie. Alright. Finally, Red Dead Redemption 2 headlines May's PlayStation Plus game catalog editions. PlayStation Plus has announced this month's PS Plus game catalog titles. Joining Red Dead is Star Wars Outlaws, Bramble the Mountain King, The Thaumaturge, Flintstock The Siege of Dawn, Broken Sword Shadows of Templar Reforged, and Inotria? The Last Song. The month PlayStation Plus Classics title is Time Crisis. The games are available on Tuesday, May 19th. Yeah, so I think I have extra. So I hope so, because I really want to try Star Wars Outlaws. Maybe I'll stream it for you guys or something. But yeah, of the things on here, that's the one, like, I was upset that when I had to get rid of Game Pass, that I wasn't able to play that game. But if it's coming here for free, I am ecstatic about it. So yeah, if you have PlayStation Plus Extra or Premium, those are your games coming this month. Yeah, so that will do it for us here. I love this Lumina wipe. It's so good. Or Luma wipe. There's no I. So thank you for joining me. We will be back tomorrow with Hot Shots Golf 2, which is our game club monthly game over on for Retro Roulette for Podcast Prime. Tom will be hosting. And on Tuesday, I'll play through a little bit of the demo of Bubsy 4D for Night Duck. We'll do that on Tuesday. Because Thursday, Tom is playing some more FF10. We get some Blitzball action. I made him stop last time before the Blitzball tutorial, because he would have forgotten the tutorial and then been thrown in the match and would have done shitty. I know he's competitive and wants to win, but as I told him, just do your best. It doesn't really matter. It's just a cutscene is different if you win. It doesn't affect the game at all. So just do it again and have fun. We are going to play Blitzball outside of this segment, just because I feel like I need Tom to play more Blitzball and see the whole aspect of that. Blitzball is the card game of FF10. So I want to show off that aspect that many people don't engage with when I've seen people stream it before. Many people don't go back and play Blitzball again, but I do want Tom to do that. So that'll be Thursday. And then Friday, we'll have Tomodachi Life and the end of Mixtape. Saturday, we'll be back for Dungeon 4 of Trails in the Sky second chapter. And maybe it'll make me do a little more stuff. But yeah. And then Sunday, we'll be back here at the News Hour. And then the big thing next Friday, or 2 Fridays from now, on the 29th, we will be playing 007. And that'll be the first official game of 2026. Mixtape kind of is, but this is the first official new game that was released in 2026 that we'll be streaming by that same cadence, which means I might play that on Saturday mornings, Sunday afternoons, Mondays, Tuesdays, like Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Friday, like it'll be all over when I'm playing. If you're with me through Death Stranding, Expedition 33, games like that last year, that we did that and play throughout the year, you'll understand what the cadence is going to be for 007. And I will try and upload those as quickly as possible to the YouTube. So, yeah. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you enjoy. If you're in the area I live in, Eastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Northeast area, it's going to get hot the next couple days. And those of you that are here early may have heard I was testing out my air conditioning to see if it reached into my bedroom. It does not. I am currently sweating like crazy. Here, because I turned off all fans and shut all windows, and it doesn't seem to be getting the cold air into here. So if I got to put a fan on anyway, I'm just going to save the money and not turn it on to sleep. I'm just going to have the fans blowing on me. But I will use it during the day when it's 95 degrees over the next couple days. But yeah, so thank you all for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Bye!